Hi, friends. Um, I was just actually watching some stories on Instagram for someone I've followed actually for quite a lot of years, and if I'm honest, she really has not even started me. She's taken me and continues to take me through my brain management stuff. Also, I apologize if I look hot. I am. I took the cat outside and even though there's a wind and it's only supposed to be 23 degrees, that's in Celsius because we're in Canada. I couldn't tell you what the Fahrenheit is, and I can't Google because I'm recording with my phone. But anywho, it's toasty despite there being wind, so I'm a little bit warm. I'm hoping that the noise canceling on my fun little mic here is canceling out the air conditioner, and I won't know until I'm done recording. I guess I could have done a test. Well, you live and you learn, right? Okay. So, anywho, I was watching these stories, and she's actually been struggling like mentally with like her brain, and she put it in a really good way, actually. But she said her brain has been a bully to her lately, and and then towards the end of the stories that she just posted, she was saying, "Well, I guess I'm in a season of growth." And I I believe sort of two main things about seasons of growth. They are in fact seasons and they sort of do ebb and flow where you'll have like weeks, months of deep, intense growth in your life, in who you are, in changes. And not to say that changes and things can't happen at other times when you're not in a season of growth, but I think a season of growth is like it's like a massive space where you dig deeper and you're actually sort of leaning into what your brain is telling you on a different level than just like day to day or pardon me, when you're not in a season of growth. And the other thing I believe, ooh, I apologize. The heat is making me tired. And the other thing that I believe about growth is that it's hard. Seasons of growth are are not for the faint of heart, to put it the nicest way possible, because it quite literally involves you digging in to the crap that your brain is presenting you. And if your brain is already being mean to you, bullying you, if you will, then it can be even harder to sort of face it head on, to sit down and cope with it, if you will. And like my version of doing that has been for years writing, journaling. And that may not be for everyone, or sometimes, a voice journal or like a like a note in your phone. I forgot the word. But for me, it's always been like putting pen to paper, and sometimes that in itself is is a task to like get myself in front of the pen and paper, simply because I just think that I'm not sure what's going to come out. And I think seasons of growth are kind of, they're sort of in this, you're in a space where you're surrounded by a lot of things coming at you from your brain. An extreme amount, not just, like I said, not just your day to day sort of stuff where you have a thought and you're like, oh, okay. And then you move on. I think seasons of growth are really like you're being bombarded. And I think something that people don't understand too about seasons of growth is yes, they're massively rewarding. Growth is rewarding, but it's also very hard and very tiring. I think honestly, I might be coming into a season of growth. I've been calling it wintering, which is a term that I had heard like I think last spring or something. Basically, like if you were to hunker down for the winter and just enjoy what you have and you're in a good space. That's kind of like my interpretation of what I've been using wintering as. But I think based on my brain space and the sort of content I'm consuming and the books I'm reading and my sort of reluctance or hesitation to sit and write. I think, or even, funny enough, or even to pick topics for videos, because in my mind, I'm like, if I want to pick topics, I want to be here recording, but what am I going to uncover? And fear is normal because your brain is telling you to stay in the space you're in. And the thing about the brain is that you don't even need to be in a comfortable space. You could be in a terrible space, but your brain thinks it's safe because it's known. So if you try to change, your brain's still going to tell you to stay where you are, even if it isn't optimal or the place that you want to be, simply because it already knows what to expect from that space. So when you try to change or you come into a season of growth, your brain will tell you to stay put. It will tell you to turn back from trying to emerge from the season of growth. And I think that's why a lot of people resist it. And I am aware enough now of how my brain works that when I have resistance to things like writing or, I'll sit and scroll on my phone. It's a term called buffering. Basically, it's like the art of distraction. It's doing something else instead of focusing on what you really need to do. And sometimes buffering is needed. I think that like there's a time and a place where you definitely need that break because being in a season of change so deep, like you do actually need to come up for air sometimes before you can actually, move forward. It's kind of like if you're really, really stressed, but then you go spend a day doing something you love, in nature, in the mountains with your family, what have you. And then you come home and you feel refreshed. It's kind of the same idea. You've come up for a breath of air from that stress, and then you can get back in to figuring out your stress, or in this case, in working through your season of growth. So if I have any tips, especially as someone who like I said, I think I'm about to hit another season of growth, which is both exciting and scary, if I'm being honest. But if you feel called to try to get what your brain is saying, what you're thinking out of your head, find a way to do it. Like I said, whether it's, voice recording, writing a note on your phone, or if you have an iPad or what have you, or like me, if you want to sit down and write it out. Sometimes even starting, I can't remember where I learned this or who I learned it from, but it's sort of like a brain dump idea. So even if you can't sort of, like you want to sit and you want to write, but you don't know where to start, it's almost like this free flow. You kind of start writing about things like, I can see the cat laying next to me. The air conditioner is on. The fan is running. I need to go to Costco. Whatever it is. Sometimes doing or writing about something that seems completely trivial will lead to you expressing what's actually going on in your brain. And it's almost like an easier segue than just going straight in with your brain being a bully or whatever that you might be dealing with in your season of change. But I would say my biggest tip is try to get what you're going through out. it will feel hard, but it will feel like relief. And sometimes, if you're lucky, it'll bring some clarity or at least give you a chance to almost look at it as if you were on the outside. So having an outside perspective where you can just view your brain, even though you know it's your brain, but being able to view it almost in like a neutral sense can sometimes bring clarity. So, and another thing, if you're going through a season of growth or even a season of change, but I mean, a season of growth kind of is a season of change, but it's more internal, I think, in my opinion, because growth happens here first. But if you are going through a season of change, know that it's a season. And yes, it might be weeks, it might be months, but you're going to live your life anyways. So you can either live really stuck, being bullied by your brain, just hoping that you're going to come out of it at some point, or you can embrace the season of change and you can, plow through it. You can power through it. You can learn and actually take something from it and be better because of it. It will be hard. It will be scary at times. But I think every single person, especially if you're watching this and it just came across somewhere, maybe like in suggested videos or, somewhere, the homepage, whatever, I believe that if you're watching this, it was meant to find you. So if you're going into or you are in a season of growth, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and the best way through it is to go through it. There's no way to go around it. That just leaves you stuck. So I hope that you can embrace it and give it the focus that it needs. And I know that you're going to continue to live your life. You still have to go to work or take care of your kids or maybe take care of your parents, take care of your pets. But it can happen amongst all of that. And everything around you and everything around you will be better for you embracing the season of growth. Okay, that I was compelled all of a sudden after I watched those stories to sit down and talk about this for a few minutes. Let me know in the comments if you feel like you're in a season of growth. It'd be kind of cool if maybe we could like encourage each other in the comments. It's I know we're internet strangers, but that doesn't mean that we can't lift each other up. So, thank you as always. I'm still very happy to be here, and we'll see you on the next one.